All right, I suppose I'm technically late. And blip, I logged in and logged out of Streamlabs, so it fudged my camera back to whatever that was. Technically, I'm late because I still haven't even opened chat. Happy Friday. I'm going to continue to get settled. It was probably too late when I was jumping in the shower at like 7:15. That was probably a clue I wasn't going to be on time, and I almost thought to delay it by 15 minutes, but we didn't. So we're going to have to live with that decision. If I was my videos, YouTube videos, that one? No. Nope. Here we go. Tools, no. Shareable link, that'll do. That'll get me there. There must be an easier way to navigate through YouTube and its mess. There must be an easier way. Don't you start. How about chat? Here we go. Excellent. Actually, no, this is wrong. I need to do this on Edge so that I can scale it up so I can read it without the rest of my computer applications being scaled up too, because it's a B. And we need some music. We need some chill hop YouTube. And don't you start talking in the background and bullshit. Thank you. All right, give me that. Bing. No, fuck off with the Bing. Chill Hop Essentials YouTube. Bing again. That was a YouTube link, you mother. All right, let's just click YouTube itself. Wait, that can't be right. Chill Hop 155 subscribers. Anyway, it is what it is. Yep, that audio is fine. Cool. My camera's not correct because these, you can't see my cursor, because my nano leaves are flickering. All right, let's get this chat popped out. That, no, what? Yes, no. Here we go. Pop out chat. Thank you. Top chat. Up. All right, cool. I think that's good enough. Mercy me. So it is Friday, my dudes. Did my live stream thing go out to Twitter? Probably not. No. All right, let's post that and we'll continue shit talking for a little while. No, let's not go with that. Friday stream. I am no one liked my earlier stream prop thing where I tried to pimp myself out. Sad panda. So yeah, technically I'm still late because I'm still trying to set everything up. At least you got a new follower for pics on YouTube. Wow, low engagement today on Twitter for me. Probably for the best, because most of the stuff I see on Twitter at the moment makes me angry. Very angry. Triggered, in fact. I might melt being such a snowflake about it all. So we've been on Windows 11 for about a week. I think I installed it. Did I install it before the last stream or after the last stream? I have streamed on Twitch with it. So far, so good. I've had no issues. I've not noticed any difference either for the better or for the worst when it comes to my day-to-day activities. So far, the main thing... Oh, yeah. So far, the main thing is that I like the central placement of the start menu. I know that's not going to be everyone's favorite placement, but I like that when I hit it, bang, it's straight up in the middle of my vision, making it very easy to see when it is active and what it's going through, which has been really good. Like that a lot, like that a lot. So the stream today, it feels like it's been like a long time since the last stream, which in a way it has, in a very real way it has been. And that's fine, that's all good. But what it means is like the whole week of things happening sort of since the start of the week. God, it feels like a long time ago since everyone was talking about Are Atheists Rocks again. And me muting that conversation to now where I feel like a lot has been said on Twitter. And I just can't remember any of it except for the start and now the end where we are here on Friday with everyone talking about the Rittenhouse trial. Oh, there was something about Joe Rogan too, wasn't there? That there was a footballer or something that said he consulted lots of medical experts, and one of them was Joe Rogan, when it came to him not getting the vaccine and claiming he was immunized despite not having the vaccine. Whether or not he had a legitimate reason to not get the vaccine, he still called himself immunized and basically, yeah, was full of shit. So yeah, it feels like it's been a hell of a week. There must be a way to catalog these things better during the week. It's been a bit of a hectic week for me, though, because I didn't stream Monday or Tuesday, and Wednesday's typically my day off. I think Monday's technically a day off now, too. I've sort of tried to spread it out a little bit more. And I was doing some job-related stuff. There's a job that's come up that I would very much like. I'm not sure I've got the best chances, but, you know, I spent a couple of days applying and getting my application together for that. So I missed those streams. And then by yesterday, I streamed some Forza 5, which is what's influenced some of the discussions that we'll have tonight. And this morning, I also completely forgot that I actually was going to talk about public housing and stuff based on last streams discussions that sort of came up. And this morning when I remembered that, I completely realized I hadn't done any research or prep for that, and so we're not doing that today. But hopefully we'll be a bit better organized next week. One can only hope, right? One can only hope. Now. We need to fix the lights, which means I need to set up a stream projector so I can see. Actually, no, that's good enough. Hub. So what that means is that the exposure is incorrect because the shutter speed. When I lean forward, I lean across what I'm trying to check. That looks better. Yeah, okay, I was underexposed. I must have accidentally changed the exposure. Basically, the shutter speed is going out of sync with the lights because the lights are also flickering as well, and that's what means you can't normally see it, but because they were out of sync so much, you could see it. Now, it does mean that I'm probably a little bit overexposed now, funnily enough. But we'll adjust that with lighting. See, that's the trick. You use your lights and you use... shit. Speaking of lights. The room lights are wrong. Wrong. See, look. Unorganized. Where's my hue? Hue. These are my fancy pants. Oh, wait, no. I've got a button for that now. Boom. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with Tokyo. So much better. Holy moly. I bought like a remote for the hue lights that I've got, which is cool. It's a little remote like that. So I can turn them. You can't really see because it's what's doing the accent lighting. Oh, you can see one down there. It's doing the accent lighting and stuff. And it comes with a plate that you can put on the wall. Whoops. Whoa. That's it. You put a plate on the wall, and it's a metal plate, so it magnetizes. But what it means is that any metal around, like for example my microphone arm, it'll stick to, including the leg of my desk, which is really handy. So I want to get more hue lights for this little study area. Unfortunately, the down lights are like $100 each, and there's 2 down lights in here. And I would have to get the, what do you call it, the LED strips as well, because that would be cool. That would be enjoyable. I would like that very much. All right. Well, we've fucked around long enough to let people wander in, should they feel it. How do I get back to the live dashboard on YouTube? How does one do such a thing? It only has just occurred to me that I actually have the option of making the YouTube chat take up more than half the screen and still being able to preview. Don't know how that's never occurred to me before. We got a DMCA, not a DMCA strike. We got a copyright claim on last week's stream. I think it was for the drones, the video for the drones. I think the music was copyrighted, which is all right. It wasn't limited in reach or anything, and live stream's not going to get a lot of reach anyway, so that's fine. If we go to studio, maybe. But I thought that was interesting, and it's worth keeping a track on that stuff, just to know how we're going generally in terms of copyright claims and stuff. So if I click go live, does it just take me back to the live? Here we go. There we go. Although I think the current viewer at the moment is me. Lol. That's all right. That's okay. We'll pop that over there. What's stream health? Not played. Right, anyway. Well, we've got no one in the chat. We might as well try and make some content then, shall we? What to do. So poorly organized. So poorly organized. Right, so I want to talk about one of my favorite animes this season, and its airing season as well. I think there was a 1 core break, so it was about a 13-week break between the first half and the second half of the current season. And it's an anime called Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. Now, it's another isekai, which, for anyone that's not aware of what isekai are, essentially it's settings that are another world. So, for example, a normal salaryman will get hit by a bus and he'll be transported through reincarnation to another world and get to live their life again, except they have all their memories and experiences and knowledge from the modern day world that we all know and love. And they will be in some sort of fantastical swords and magic and demon lords and heroes setting, often with very heavy elements that are derived from video game logic. So there might be things like status numbers associated with their abilities. There might be skills they can activate, all this sort of stuff. Now, it's as ridiculous as it sounds. And frankly, the vast majority of these shows are as ridiculous as those sort of settings might lead them to be. There are a few standout ones. I think probably one of the earliest influential animes that had a similar setting to this was actually Sword Art Online. In this one, however, the way the fantasy world was accessed, or the other world, was through VR. So the main characters were able to play an MMO like World of Warcraft, and they did that by putting on a VR helmet. I think it was called a Nerve Gear. It's been a while since I've watched the series. And they were transported to play this game that was set in a fantasy landscape. In that particular show, though, the way they were stuck there was that there's actually a design element. There was like some sort of it's like a needle or something that would pierce the brainstem if you died in the game, or if you tried to remove the helmet, or if you tried to log off, that would kill the user. So they were actually trapped in there, and they spent several months in this situation where the goal was to get to the top of the tower. Anyway, not important what the details were. Since then, these shows have become a staple, and it's not like there's one every season of anime as it comes out. There are generally multiple. So at the moment, for example, we've got the world's greatest assassin is reincarnated as an aristocrat. We have the faraway paladin, which is a person who dies and is reincarnated as a child who is raised by 3 undead, a skeleton, a mummy, and a ghost, and learns to become a paladin. And that's about as far as we've gotten in the story so far. I don't know much more than that. And we've got Mushoku Tensei. Mushoku Tensei. I call it Jobless Reincarnation. So, pronunciation of the Japanese names not my strong suit in this particular franchise. And I'm sure there's others. They're just the ones that I'm watching this season. So you got other notable ones like ReZero. Is Konosuba an isekai? Or is it just like a fantasy one? In Another World with My Smartphone. I'm a Spider, So What? Like, it's honestly ridiculous. And it actually frustrates me that so much anime is this genre instead of seeing more interesting and unique things, like when we used to get things like Flip Flappers, Madoka Magica, Steins Gate, even things like Cowboy Bebop. We don't get a lot of Space Odysseys anymore. We get all this isekai stuff, and even then the isekai is always medieval fantasy. Like, it's like Tolkien-esque fantasy. It's like orcs and elves and cat girls. Cat girls, great, put them in space. Cat Planet cuties, it can be done. Anyway, all of this set up to establish that Mushoku Tensei feels like it is actually a series where the other world part of it is earned and is used properly and is used effectively and is doing the genre the way that I think it should be done. The problem with Mushoku Tensei, and I just realized the video I was going to go over, is specific to episodes 16 and 17, which is not what we're talking about. Now, the problem with Mushoku Tensei, and what conflicts me about it a little bit, is that it actually feels like it's a bit of a throwback when it comes to things like fan service. And so what should I do with that? How do I respond to that? What's ethical? What's reasonable? There's no easy way to put up full pictures, is there? I haven't thought this through at all. Official trailer. Here we go. If we do that, we mute it. We do that. And then we do that. No, not that. On the wrong page. Alright, there we go. So this is Mushoku Tensei. Now, this is going to be muted because what's not important is the specifics. It's just a visual aid while we have a chat about it. Fan service. Heavy fan service. Now, I can go back to the late 80s, early 90s to something like Ranma 1/2, where there was lots of fan service. And anime still does have a lot, but it's very strongly emphasized in this particular show. Now, does it have a meaning? Is it important if it has a meaning? Is fan service something that has a place in media broadly? Anyone that sort of follows me or interacts with me on Twitter, you'll know that I'm pretty open about the lewd parts of Twitter that I do follow, whether it's like cosplayers or artists or things like that. I'm happy to do sort of reaction GIFs with some fairly, shall we say, lewd leanings. So I think it's not as easy as fan service is just bad. And I think Mushoku Tensei is an interesting way to discuss it because the characters themselves, they're kids, right? They're two of the main characters are children. So the blonde kid, Rudis, is the main character, or Rudy, that guy there. He's a child, but he's a adult man in terms of his understanding. Hang on, let's get a good still of Rudy. That's not a good still. Okay, now there we go. So he's an adult man in a child's body that is going through life again. And essentially his promise is that he will work hard this life. He won't slack off like his previous life. He was a NEET, he was a shut-in, he was a recluse, and he feels like he wasted his old life, but now he's going to study hard, he's going to work hard, he's going to live life to its fullest. And he, like, I say study hard, work hard, it's not like he's going to be just like nose to the grindstone and, you know, upright, upstanding citizen. He means he's going to enjoy and live life to the fullest. Now, his cousin, well, I say his cousin, there are a few female characters that he interacts with. And through that, he takes... The series does not shy away from having interactions that... I mean, his first view of his mum is boobs. And like he responds as a 30-year-old man might respond. But then he has multiple... friends that he makes as he grows up. So one of the things this series does, which I enjoy to a certain degree, is that it has slowly aged him up. Although his current age, I forget how old he is at the moment. He's been his current age for some time. An event takes place at the end of season 1, and that sort of stops the time leaps, or the time skips, I should say, and plants him, I think, at 12 or something, or thereabouts. And predominantly he's spending time with what's her name? I've forgotten her name. This time I really want to live. Yeah, that's pretty much the theme of the whole series. Oh, that's so bad that I've forgotten her name. Embarrassing. So embarrassing. Anyway, the point is that the show shows these characters interacting in ways where they sort of... there's no getting away from it. It's fan servicey. It's sexual in nature. And I don't know what to do with that. I don't know how to... Like, in my head, I rationalize it as going, this is a story about kids. And when you're a kid, you go through these complicated feelings, and you actually do go through untangling how you feel about or how you want to interact with people of the genders that you're attracted to. Like, to me, that seems like a normal aspect of being a child. But then we have this issue where society, or certain parts of society, they sexualize kids in a way that is predatory and unhealthy. And one thing that always reminds me of is when I was in high school, I would have been 16 at the time. And one of the books I had to read for English class was Isabel Carmody's, what was it called? Ober-Newton series? No. Was it Ober-Newton? Let's have a look. So Isabel Carmody, she's an Australian author, and I know she does a really good, she had a really good series of short stories called Green Monkey Dreams. But there was another series, it wasn't short stories, and it was like young adult fiction, so they were like 15, 16 years old. And, you know, there were scenes in it where the kids were like going to the beach, and, you know, the main character notices the female character wearing a white t-shirt, going in the water and being able to see everything. But because that's in a book format, it has legitimacy as, you know, a story. And maybe that's the answer, is that anime is so problematic in a lot of cases when it does deal with children that maybe it's just something that's not even possible at all. The Gathering, that's what it was. The Gathering. What was it even about? I can't even remember. Allegorical Australian young adults novel written by fantasy author Isabel Carmody. God, 1993. Jesus. Major themes. Concept of evil as a malevolent force existing outside of human action and the viewpoint of a character largely defined by logic and rationality. Such an approach makes an air of creates an air of realism in what is essentially a fantastical plot. Nathaniel. Yeah. It's actually interesting because now I would not take issue, but I wouldn't be as in. Like, I really enjoyed the story. I remember almost none of it, but I did really enjoy it. And I had to write a essay on it, which I got like an A+ with a note from the teacher going, "I wish I could have given you even a higher grade, but they couldn't." Did I just get a notification saying that it has failed to record? That would be really annoying. Really fucking annoying. Existentialism. Wow. Personal demons. Yeah, I can't remember any of this. Nissa, that's it. That's the chick that was sexualized in the story. Oh, that's funny. Why were they called Indian in the Australian version? Man, young adult fiction is so dark sometimes. Brain damage his younger sister sustained under his supervision. Alright, I feel like I'm off topic. Fascism and world society references. An authoritarian dictatorship. Oh, no swastika. No terms of service. Is she still writing stuff? Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Ah, she's still writing. 4 years feels like a big gap, though. Especially in a series book. Don't be a George R.R. Martin. Oh shit, Open Newton Chronicles still being... Wait, is it still being written as overall? God, one would hope that would be the last, because I'm pretty sure Over Newton Chronicles was around when I was in high school. Yeah, 1999. Fuck. I'm sorry. Authors need to get their shit together. Like, it is unacceptable for a story to start in 1987 and still be going without a resolution. Ah, I'm a One Piece fan. I'm on thin fucking ground at the moment. Fucking scrub there. Anyway, I feel like I haven't prepared this well. Quality, you know? Man, I'm all over the place. I thought I'd wake up, I've had a shower, but I'm pretty tired, so maybe we should just do some React Andy shit. Can I do it without getting angry, though? That's the question. Or is getting angry a pathway to success and just being a fucking asshole on stream? Who knows? Maybe that was the answer all along. The answer in our hearts. The answer that we really wanted. The answer that we deserve. So here's a question. What is the line in the sand between unwarranted emotional labor and sorting through things that make you angry and having a robust, diverse set of opinions on your Twitter feed? What is the solution to that problem? Because this is something I've had crop up for me in the last couple of weeks. And that's, I have worked reasonably diligently, and yes, it is not recording. Fuck. Wait, am I not streaming? Wait. How deep does the error go? The error's fine. Okay. The error's fine. Okay. Yep. Although, looking on the YouTube stream, I've got fuzzy lights again, flickering lights again. What the hell? What's going on? What's up with that, eh? Alright, I need to do an output projector. I've tried so many things to have... Oh my god, this mouse. This mouse. Hey, Apostle Babe. Yeah, yeah. It was just briefly because I got an error saying the output has failed, but it was talking about my local recording, which is frustrating. And my left click on my mouse is a pain in the butt. Stream output projector. Chuck it on screen too. Let's fix these lights because that's really annoying me. Wait. That's not the nanoleaves. Is that the hue? No, that's the nanoleaves. Wait. That one. I tell you what, the C920 webcam is great, except when it's not. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, see, now it's gone, but now I'm too bright. And maybe it too... No, that's not right. Not happy. Where's my phone? Quality stream. Happy Friday. Happy fucking Friday. I suppose I can talk at the same time. So, here's my concern. Is I'm unsure where the line is between having a healthy and robust Twitter feed of opinions that challenge and keep me grounded versus just things that make me angry. What the flip? Because I've been on the verge of muting a few accounts. I went through the process of actually unfollowing people. There weren't people I knew or anything. They were sort of accounts that I followed just broadly because there was a pagan account I followed that was fairly big. And I just got sick of them. Because a lot of the stuff they were posting was just like shitting on particular communities and stuff. And like the reason I sort of followed them in the first place was because I wanted to learn a bit more about, how pagans live their lives and how they believe and how they think and all that sort of stuff. And I just wasn't getting it from following their account, which is fair enough. Like, it's not like it was their job or something that was promised to me. So, but like, particularly at the moment, like all this fucking Rittenhouse stuff and other stuff that's happening in Australia, it just shits me. I'm in Australia, so a long way away. Southern California, I would expect that most times people in that time zone would be asleep. Because I have quite a few American friends, and they would be only waking up around now. Whereas we are getting to the later. Well, it's not that late. It's only 8 o'clock here, but that's all right. So, Rittenhouse. Did I want to fucking talk about Rittenhouse? Part of me didn't want to, but only because it's such a fucking... Like, it feels like everything being talked about Rittenhouse online at the moment is just so fucking toxic. And, like... What frustrates me is that, like, I think there is one correct answer in the Rittenhouse situation. And I understand that it's not the answer that everyone else has come to, but the answer I've come to is that he explicitly saw BLM protests as something that was dangerous and needed to be intervened in. He saw himself as a reliable actor to go and take a weapon and enter a place where there was heightened tensions. and he put himself in that position, armed with an AR-15, and as a result of that, 2 people were killed and 1 person was maimed. Those things, as far as I can understand, they are facts. I don't think anyone disputes any of that. On the face of that, there are multiple decisions there that have been made by Rittenhouse that, to my mind, make him immoral and dehumanizing of people that were basically attending what was a civil rights movement, which I understand that those things can get out of control because people are emotional and people are people. So putting yourself in that position with a gun and an outcome being that you shoot people, whether or not that's legally self-defense, to me that's not important, because I think I can judge that action as pretty heinous, and as Rittenhouse is a monster. Like, he is, I hate that I feel bad saying he is, like, he lacks basic human empathy for the thoughts of other people, and that it's abhorrent. It is literally abhorrent. So the Rittenhouse shootings, they're currently on trial. They took place last year. I forget exactly what the dates were, but legal system being the legal system, this is just how long it's taken to get to trial. There were BLM protests. I forget what state they're in, because America is not my country, so the state's just sort of in one way or out the other. Yeah, so he's been on trial at the moment. As far as I'm aware, it's been suspended until Monday, so there's no further information coming out. But this is one thing that has... So when I say, what do we do with Twitter in terms of making a space that doesn't make me fucking angry versus getting myself out and seeing what other people believe? Because I'm happy to talk with people that think Rittenhouse didn't do anything wrong. I'm happy to have those discussions. It just feels like it's not possible. It feels like it doesn't actually happen, you know? Where's this video or this tweet? And like it happens with everything, because on one side you've got people that are like, there's that video of him crying. Where the fuck is it? I bet it's surely Rittenhouse is trending. He explicitly got the gun for what he could do to protect property in a state he wasn't from. And I know that there are people that look at like the legalities of it change depending on if he got the gun before he traveled over state lines versus after, and all these legal technicalities that change his legal culpability. And like, to me, it frustrates me a little bit that the discourse has gotten so focused on whether or not he did something legally defensible, when I think that the facts that are already agreed upon, to me, establish that what he did was morally indefensible. Like, who looks at civil rights protests and goes, you know what, I'm going to take lethal force to those protests to defend against those people looking to establish a part of, looking to establish changes to the system that is oppressing them. Now, you might disagree whether the system oppresses them. I think it is incredibly clear that people of color, almost universally across the world, are unjustly treated by systems of government set up by, let's face it, Western white cultures that have come from colonization. We had these in Australia as well, so we actually had the BLM movement hit us too. And it's not because we imported something from America, it's because we have the same issues when it comes to how our Indigenous people are treated. Now, from my understanding, in America, the issue is very much at the street level. The way the police interact with people and escalate deadly force, because they operate as nearly paramilitary organizations, almost mercenary in their nature because of the way they get access to old military equipment. It's just like, it blows my mind, like automatic weapons and fucking tanks and all this sort of shit. Australian police are less heavily armed. We have a lack of that type of gun culture, which means that police are less likely to be concerned about explicit threats of, you know, guns just on day-to-day work. So a lot of what happens with our Indigenous people happens in the justice system and happens in the way that they get disparate outcomes in the ways that they are treated while they are actually in the justice system. So they die in jails, they die while they're incarcerated, they are overrepresented in the prison population, they are underrepresented when it comes to access to basic amenities, things like electricity and water and all that sort of stuff. And their life expectancy is something horrible, like 20 years less than non-Indigenous Australians. So like all these issues are just as relevant in Australia, and we had our own BLM movement too. See, and that's it. Like BLM in America was sparked by the shootings, sparked by police violence against people of color. And I think behind that all was the fact that, yes, it was systemic oppression and systemic racism that was keeping those people down, that was keeping that, like, the boiling point kept going because of that unfairness. There was a video that went viral around the time, which there was some, again, these are the dumbass arguments that are happening on Twitter. Someone had gotten into an argument about this Rittenhouse thing, and where is it? Let's find it. Let's find it. I was gonna say it was good, but it wasn't good. But it was, it was a thing. Here we go. Here's the thread. Show me the thread. Ah, wait, even better. Ah, I'm on the wrong page. No, that's for video games. We're not playing video games right now. We need some volume. That's not coming through. Shut up. No. Oh, I'm having a real fucking night. Real fucking night. Wait, no, that should have been going through. Oh, I know why. It's on the same channel as the background music. Alright, what mixer should YouTube be doing? Aux 1. I need to rename these. I really do. Aux 1. There we go. There we go. Aux 1, got some volume on it, nice. That's better, but loud.
That's what I run.
We're going to just take it. Time for our break anyway. You can just relax for a minute, sir. We're going to take a break about 10 minutes, and please don't talk about the case.
And I scrubbed that too.
So you see the emotional breakdown there of 8.
Well, you didn't, because I didn't have the fucking right scene up. That's alright. So this is what's been going, like, pretty... Where's that stream coming from? Where? Wait. That's... No. Oh my god. I'm having a night. I'm having a real night. I need another drink. Where is that sound coming from? Where is that sound coming from? Is it over here? Ah. Yes. Just quit. Just quit. All right. Let's do this. Shut up. Where is a YouTube? That's okay. Let's just start closing tabs. Let's not close that one because I've got outcomes on it. Get rid of the camera window. You suspicious. It's muted. So it's fine. That's the stream itself. That's muted too. The fuck? That's the music for the local line. Alright, let's... This is doing my head. I've gone through everything. Now it's not muted. Yeah, there's a little more lag on that stream than I thought. Wait, what? I unmuted one of the streams and I can't hear it through that stream. That's funny. I mean, funny is a strong word there, but wow. And when I monitor, it sounds the same. Oh, have I just changed it so I can monitor the mic at the same time? Wait, yes. That's all I had done. We do this? Oh, that's too loud. All right. It wasn't coming through the stream again. It was that I was monitoring. Check. 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Okay. That'll do. I'm gonna blame my mouse. So my mouse is old and crunchy, which is annoying because it's a one of those Naga Trinity mice, which I technically got to play games with. And you know, it's a nice $80 mouse. No, it's like $150. It's one of those ones where like the side you can clip off. So for example, at the moment, okay, come on. Wow. So at the moment I can clip off this and it's got like the 9 buttons there. So it's good for like games like Final Fantasy 14 where there's a shit ton of buttons to press. So I like having it. The problem is the left click jams. And so if I click to drag a window across, it'll click but then release, but then re-click. And instead of dragging the window, it'll like select something in the window and mess with stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I was running late for the stream. I think I clicked go live at 7:31 p.m. and I didn't check my settings. I was a bit too focused on getting out on time. So anyway, we need to practice. We need to learn. It's why we're here. It's why we do it. Shut up. All right, so let's go back to this. So this mess is everywhere online at the moment.
People right there.
And it seems like the predominant argument over this is whether or not he is really crying. Now, don't get me wrong. I fully understand looking at that and going, that feels like bullshit. That feels like a toddler's tantrum that they sort of, when a toddler will cry, and they'll be crying, and then they'll look up to see if anyone's noticed. And if someone's noticed, they'll go back to crying. But it is unfair to actually say that is definitely what's happening at the moment. Because we don't know what's happening in his head. We don't know how he responds to pressure. We don't know how he responds to PTSD, because I'm sure that when this all went down, it was probably terrifying for him. But what I hate is that it takes away from the fact that what he did when he killed 2 people and maimed a 3rd, and reduces it down to whether or not people believe he is crying genuinely or whether he is faking it to try and get sympathy. It actually doesn't matter. Like, I actually don't care whether or not these tears are real or if they're fake, because it doesn't change what my belief is when it comes to the morality of what he did. It would be different if these tears were out of remorse, but even a genuine reading of these tears they are tears for himself, his own fear, his own anxiety, for his safety. They're not for what he did. So in that sense, I don't care whether they're real or not. But this thread, holy shit. This thread here, this is where we just got someone that was coming in and going, hey, rioters and looters and both sides and all this sort of stuff, and basically it boiled down to, God, this went on for a while. So I came into this and read through all that crap, and like the idea that once rioting and looting was involved, these people just shut themselves off. And I've never seen anything that has expressed this better than this particular person.
So I've been seeing a lot of things talking of the people making commentary. Interestingly enough, the ones I've noticed that have been making the commentary are wealthy black people making the commentary is that we must never forget that economics was the reason that black people were brought to this country. We came to do the agricultural work in the South and the textile work in the North. Do you understand that? That's what we came to do. We came to do the agricultural work in the South and the textile work in the North. Now, if I right now decided that I wanted to play Monopoly with you, and for 400 rounds of playing Monopoly, I didn't allow you to have any money, I didn't allow you to have anything on the board.
So to me, this is an example of the anger that I think is justified when it comes to escalations at these types of civil demonstrations for civil liberties, the fight for recognition and equity under the current system. So when people defend Britain, oh my God, why is Tuckerson in more videos?
I didn't allow for you to have anything. And then we played another 50 rounds of Monopoly, and everything that you gained and you earned while you were playing that round of Monopoly was taken from you. That was Tulsa. That was Rosewood. Those are places where we built black economic wealth, where we were self-sufficient, where we owned our stores, where we owned our property, and they burned them to the ground. So that's 450 years. So for 400 rounds of Monopoly, you don't get to play at all. Not only do you not get to play, you have to play on the behalf of the person that you're playing against. You have to play and make money and earn wealth for them, and then you have to turn it over to them. So then for 50 years, you finally get a little bit and you're allowed to play. And every time that they don't like the way that you're playing, or that you're catching up, or that you're doing something to be self-sufficient, they burn your game. They burn your cards. They burn your Monopoly money. And then finally at the release and the onset of that, they allow you to play and they say, okay, now you catch up. Now at this point, the only way you're going to catch up in the game is if the person shares the wealth, correct?
It's a hard video to watch because like it is so... I can't find a way. I can't find any holes in it. I can't understand anyone that looks at this and then can't look at the movement as a whole and understand and empathize. Like if people are driven to the point where the BLM marches were so ubiquitous around the world that they can go, you know what, I need to protect property against these people. Fuck.
But what if every time you share the wealth, then there's psychological warfare against you to say, oh, you're an equal opportunity hire. So if I played 400 rounds of Monopoly with you and I had to play and give you every dime that I made, and then for 50 years, every time that I played, if you didn't like what I did, you got to burn it like they did in Tulsa and like they did in Rosewood, how can you win?
It's always relevant.
How can you win?
Unfortunately.
You can't win. The game is fixed. So when they say, why do you burn down the community? Why do you burn down your own neighborhood? It's not ours. We don't own anything. We don't own anything. Trevor Noah said it so beautifully last night. There's a social contract that we all have, that if you steal or if I steal, then the person who is the authority comes in and they fix the situation. But the person who fixes the situation is killing us. So the social contract is broken. And if the social contract is broken, why the fuck do I give a shit about burning the fucking Football Hall of Fame, about burning a fucking Target? You broke the contract when you killed us in the streets and didn't give a fuck. You broke the contract when for 400 years we played your game and built your wealth. You broke the contract when we built our wealth again on our own by our bootstraps in Tulsa and you dropped bombs on us. When we built it in Rosewood and you came in and you slaughtered us. You broke the contract, so fuck your Target. Fuck your Hall of Fame. As far as I'm concerned, they could burn this bitch to the ground. And it still wouldn't be enough. And they are lucky that what black people are looking for is equality and not revenge.
I don't know how. I don't know how anyone can refute that. Like what was wrong? What was inaccurate there? You know, in Australia, our Indigenous people, our First Nations people, they'd been in this country for tens of thousands of years. Like the lowest estimates were like 40,000 years, and I think that's been significantly upped. And they're currently 3% of the population of this country, and that's because of what we have done to disenfranchise them, to take away from them, you know, their ability to self-determine. Like one of the things that happened in Australia was what was called the Stolen Generation. And the Stolen Generation was legitimately an attempt to breed Indigenous Australians out of existence. The idea was that Indigenous kids were taken from their families and placed into white homes. And the idea being that eventually their blood would be so diluted that they would be white. There wouldn't be Indigenous Australians anymore. Now, that was an explicit policy, that literally was a government policy that happened in Australia. And technically, that stopped. And this is where we move into the phase that I think America's in a similar phase at the moment as well. And it's where it's a systemic issue, a systemic racism that's baked into the way that we operate as a society, where Indigenous kids are far more likely. Let's get the stats. Let's get the stats. This deserves the statistics because it is so heinous that, like, where are we? Where's the tweet? We did this tweet not too long ago. Elon Musk tweet, One Piece tweet, Shrek tweet. My God, I am all over the place with Twitter's tweets, aren't I? Scott Morrison tweet. Something about a bear. Wait, I retweeted it, so it should be in tweets and retweets, right? Or it should be as a tweet, right? I'm pretty sure I retweeted it. Something about a chicken shop. Something about a stream. Forza Horizon. Back to Elon Musk. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So, here are the stats when it comes to Indigenous Australians. So, population 3.3%. 3.3%. 45% of Aboriginal men and 34% of women die before the age of 45. 71% die before the age of 65. Holy shit. So if I was an Indigenous person, I would have almost have a coin flip of dying in the next 10 years. Or 8 years, sorry. Don't give myself years I haven't known. So, pretty, yeah. Prison. From 1991 to 2021, 34% of Indigenous women and 29% of Indigenous men. And children, 55%. Northern Territory had 100%? How is that possible? How is that possible? First Nations people are 15 times more likely to be imprisoned than non-Indigenous people. 3.2 times more likely to be pulled over and charged by police in Western Australia. Black deaths in custody. First Nations people are 4 times more likely to be killed by the justice system. There were 15 black deaths between July 2019 and June 2020. 15 in, 11 or 12 months. 19 more in Australia would have reached 500 within 30 years. So we spend $9.7 billion on incarceration. And I'm guessing this is a projection based on inflation and increased rates. Or not rates, but like the rate staying the same and population's increasing. If we reduce incarceration, it'd be less than $1 billion. Here we go. This is what I was getting to with the stolen generation. First Nations child removal rates. 14.6% of all First Nations children were out of home care in 2019. That increased by 39% in 2020. Indigenous suicide rates. Mob are 7 times more likely suicide than non-Indigenous people. 7 times. And this is the gap. This is like, why do these things happen? Why are these numbers different? Like, it always comes down to the same thing. And it's the same no matter where you are in the world when it comes to systems where there is a particular group that is in power and a particular group that is not in power, or groups that aren't in power. Like, anytime you see these changes, like prison stats, 34 and 29%. Like, holy shit, that's like 1 in 3. Like, and 50% of the kids. And I don't know what the hell this is. The early death rates, like, these aren't genetic things, right? These are things that are caused by policy. These are things that are caused by circumstance, by environment, and by government. Through either action or inaction. Like, what the fuck? There's a there was an art installation. Shit, what was the name of the island? There was a Palm Island. That's it. Palm Island riots in Australia. They were a big thing, and there was an art installation at the local art gallery not too long ago. Well, it was before COVID, so it was a while ago. And I wish the video there was like, here we go. Oh, wait, is this it?
A Brisbane artist
has taken graphic footage of the 2004 Palm Island riot and turned it into a video artwork. The work features never-before televised footage filmed by police on the day locals burnt down the police
I wish this art was in full on YouTube. I really do.
station and courthouse in outrage over the death in custody of Cameron Doomadgee, and it's destined for the National Gallery.
As the 2004 Palm Island riot unfolded, police were filming.
I'd be very careful with the firearm. It may be the case that we'll have to discharge a few rounds in the air to scare the shit out of these.
The footage...
Like, listen to the way they're talking about them. Like, I would hope that in 2021 that there is no police who, when in the discharge of their duties, talk about discharging some fucking bullets in the air to scare these beeps.
reveals the fear of police as the community erupts.
So in the actual art exhibit, when you look at this video was designed so each one of these squares was on its own projected screen. And once it's on the screen, like they would go on and off at different times and stuff. And like you're surrounded, you're sort of immersed with it. Because this is probably a rip from 2004
in anger
news.
after hearing how Cameron Doomadgee died in custody.
You got to take your Glock. They're chucking it.
This is Australia, 2004.
Smashed all the windows.
Brisbane artist Vernon Arkey has turned the recording into art.
I think people who aren't Aboriginal will look at it and just be dumbfounded. They will wonder, why is this happening in a country that professes itself to be something better?
People are distressed. We are oppressive people. Please, we are oppressed people.
Deputy Commissioner Kathy Reinders is considering misconduct charges against 6 officers involved in the investigation and review of Cameron Doomadgee's death in custody. 2 years ago, she awarded 2 of those same officers bravery medals from the riot.
Fucking hell.
You've got, on one hand, she's handing out bravery medals to the very police officers she's now called to investigate. And I just don't think she should be doing it, if for no other reason that there might be a perception of bias.
The Queensland Police Service and Police Union both say it's not an issue. 6 years on, the events of Palm Island continue to reverberate throughout Queensland. John Taylor, ABC News.
So that riot, right, in 2004, 20, fucking hell, a long time ago when you don't start with 20. Take it easy, Perp. Hope you get some rest. I live in Brisbane. I live in Queensland. I live close to this place. I don't remember hearing a fucking thing about it. Like, clearly it was on the news. But clearly it also wasn't the biggest story in the world. Like it happened in my state, and like I'm shocked. I felt like I learnt about it in 2019. Shit. So yeah, BLM, the rioters, the protesters, fucking, they got every fucking justification in the world to express themselves, even when it turns into riots. I you know what, you when it gets to that point, it's up to people that are trained properly to try to de-escalate the situation. It's not up to fucking 17-year-olds to go there with AR-15s and think they're going to be a Frank fucking Castle protecting property from people by killing people. There is no waiting in the world where I think that you could justify protecting a fucking storefront by shooting a human being. That got a bit heavy. That got a bit heavy. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to make sure that my hard drive has been cleared out to actually record this, so I could actually turn this into a YouTube video, like an actual edited video. So that's kind of a bummer. right, let's have a look at fucking Joe Rogan. God bless you, meatball. Let's find some YouTube fucking trash to look at. So interestingly enough, so in my state at the moment in Queensland, on the 17th of December, vaccine. Oh god, I thought it was saying YouTube's not available, but it was a expired offer link. Vaccine mandates become a requirement for people that are actually going to be going to places like restaurants, cafes, cinema, things like that, which is fantastic. And my work actually also has indicated they are in the process of taking into consideration whether or not they should mandate vaccines, which I'm 100% for. So that should be very interesting to see how all that goes. But Joe Rogan's been doing some dumbass stuff with vaccines lately. Well, I say lately, he's been doing dumbass things with vaccines for quite some time. Wait, no. No. Oh my god. Joe Rogan interviewed Ben Shapiro? Are you kidding me? Fuck off. Fuck off. Oh, give me something. Give me something. Okay, where does Shapiro start? He's only got 2 clips of Shapiro up. Okay, let's see what our boomer and millennial that acts like a fucking boomer.
The Joe
What's their
Rogan
take on
experience.
Facebook? Let's go.
So let's talk about the metaverse, because like I'm really fascinated by this decision of Facebook to change the name of Facebook to Meta and to the metaverse, which I think people are just gonna they're gonna like they're gonna realize that this is a crazy idea, that you're gonna give your life to some sort of augmented or virtual reality world that's created by a guy who's involved in this company whose algorithms are sowing the seeds of distrust and hate all through. But now we're gonna fucking
And he's talking to Ben Shapiro. Like, let's put this in context. He's criticizing Mark Zuckerberg, rightly, for being in control of Facebook, whose algorithm is not been the best at disengaging people from conspiracy and extreme rhetoric. But he's talking to Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro bomb them. They sit around in sewage all day. Palestine. Shapiro.
Let him take over what you see and feel, because you're going to have a new company, and this new company is going to be virtually reality based, where he's literally he reenacted a scene from Black Mirror.
Yeah, well,
which is unironically.
I know, and you know what makes me a little sad?
Oh god, content warning. Ben Shapiro's fucking voice.
I think that it's going to happen.
You think it's going to happen?
Yeah, I think that you and I are of a different generation, dude. I think there are a lot of kids who are growing up in Fortnite world and spend a lot. And
Fortnite world. Oh my god, Ben, you're so out of touch. It's Roblox. Fucking Fortnite hasn't been relevant since like season 2.
I think the pandemic really accelerated this. There are a lot of people who lived online for the entire pandemic, and so for people like me and for people like my parents, not seeing other humans for a long time was actually quite painful and terrible. Like, we actually did want to get out and be with the community and see friends and do that sort of stuff. What if you spend your entire life, from the time you're a little kid, interacting with screens? What if those screens...
That's Ben's audience. That's online conservatives. Like, he's shitting on his own people.
...are getting increasingly sophisticated so that they are interacting with you in ways that humans would. What if you get to be whatever... Like, we're a society, we were just talking about this, where you get to be whatever you want to be. What if there's a world where you have...
That's a dog whistle, right?
We were just talking about this, where you get to be whatever you want to be. What if there's a world where you actually can be, and everybody sees you the way you want to be seen? Would you rather live there where you're like rich and good looking and everybody likes you, or would you rather live...
Okay. This is evidence that Ben has never been online. It is an incredibly big divide online between rich people and poor people, especially if you play motherfucking games. games and their fucking microtransactions these days. Genshin Impact. I play Genshin Impact, right? I am scum. I accept that. But holy shit, I know the difference between me dropping $15 a month versus some motherfucker that comes in on a new banner, drops $2,000 and has a fucking C6 Hutao. I know the fucking difference. Like when I'm online, I'm more acutely aware of people's disposable income than I am in the real fucking world.
Live in the real world where you're disconnected from all of that, and you end up with like Ready Player One world. I think
it's going to happen. It's as long as it can become.
Yeah, Zuckerberg is going to make the whatever it's called in Ready Player One, the Paradise Online, and Ben Shapiro and Joe Rogan, they're going to produce people who vote for the governments that will create the slums that make people want to go into the metaverse.
Indistinguishable from reality, which it will be able to be. It's going to take time, whether it's 5 years or 10 years. If you go back and look at Pong, which was the first game that I ever saw when I was a child, it's ridiculous. It's like a white ball that bounces across, and you have a straight
two
line.
paddles. Yep.
That's a.
Oh god, are we at the point where we do need to explain what Pong is because of like Zoomers?
Battle, and it's the dumbest game that you could never convince a child to play today. They'd be like, get the fuck out of here with that stupid game. I can go play fucking Halo, right? But back then when I was a child, that was a big deal. If you go in the future from now, what they have available now with these insane video graphics, the Unreal
video
Engine,
graphics,
and then move yourself
Unreal
20
Engine.
years in the future, it's going to be indistinguishable.
And the AI is getting better and better in terms of being able to imitate human behavior, in terms of being able to innovate on its own.
And haptic feedback suit.
Innovate on its own. Okay, all right. I call bullshit. I don't think AI has gotten to the point where anyone can talk about its ability to innovate on its own in any type of legitimate sense like that. Also, let's be real, right? Graphics in games have not increased in fidelity over time. They have decelerated. They've gotten better over time still, but you look at the difference between Nintendo Entertainment System, Sega Master System, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, massive, huge. I actually remember, aging myself, Nintendo Magazine System, when they put a baseball game screenshot from the Nintendo 64, and it was just a downward view of the, is it a diamond? Baseball diamond? It's not a pitch, right? It's a baseball diamond. And I looked at them like, holy shit, that looks like real grass. It didn't. It doesn't. It was just so far away, and it was so sloppily done. But I thought, holy shit, that looks like real grass. We're still in that era where all we're doing is getting better fidelity of it looks realistic. We're not actually getting to the point where, so for example, I've got a VR headset. I don't use it that often, but the graphics in VR are like graphics 15 years ago. And I mean, even then, graphics 15 years ago, like you go play a PlayStation 3 game, they don't look horrible. They don't look, what Last of Us, that was a PlayStation 3 game, wasn't it? Pretty sure it was. They look amazing. They look really good. They look high fidelity. Like, you can't then go, Pong to now is this good, so now till then is going to be indistinguishable from reality. Ridiculous. Watching too much Sword Art
and all
Online.
these different things, and all these video games that they have that
Stop scratching
emulate
yourself.
sports. They're getting so close. When you watch these basketball games, and the UFC has a game, when you watch these the players, the fighters move around, like, God, it's so close. It's not quite there, but they're getting better and better with each iteration. And
that's just motion capture.
it's just a matter of time.
And what I wonder is if we are innovating ourselves, and when it comes to this stuff, if we're innovating ourselves out of existence as a civilization.
But don't you think that's probably where this goes, no matter what?
No, I think then the barbarians come to the gate. I think that's what happens.
Really?
Because the real world still exists. So if you innovate an entire generation of people, and let's just take this on the most baseline demographic level. None of them get married. None of them have babies. In 2 generations, this ain't going to matter. You're going to have a good time in the virtual reality, and then there are going to be no babies to carry this on. And the only people on Earth are going to be religious Jews, religious Catholics, and religious Muslims, and that's it.
The vulnerability lies in the power grid, because the power grid is so vulnerable that if someone just detonates the power grid, all this stuff stops, and then you have no life. Your life is completely, you've invested it completely in this.
Joe Rogan's a fucking podcaster. This is literally his life. If the power grid goes out, he's got nothing. All he's got is his fucking Instagram in his podcast.
Augmented world, this virtual world. But this virtual world, all you have to do is pull the plug and it's out. And it's out for millions of people. It's like the equivalent of dropping a nuclear bomb on a culture. Like if you really all live inside of a computer system, some sort of a
VR, it's virtual reality. Yeah, no, that's right. And what I fear is that when you do that to a civilization, it's basically the equivalent of you bring in a wild animal and you put it in a cage for a long time, and now you can't release it back in the wild, right? It's going to get eaten. What happens to you as a civilization? Right? What happens?
Ben Shapiro and his fucking... Whenever he says civilization, I feel like he's just talking about like conservative traditional values. He's not talking about actual civilization. He's talking about a very specific slice of civilization that he thinks is worthy.
If you've taken an entire generation of people, told them that their entire life exists online, they don't have to interact with other humans, they don't have to interact in human ways with other humans, and then there's like an entire other Earth out there that isn't doing any of this. Right? By the way, China's not doing this. Right? No. China's bad.
China had a huge problem with its kids being overinvested in virtual worlds. And they're about to admit that they know that by telling us about the law they passed, limiting the amount of time a child in China can spend playing games. It's like an hour every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, something like that, and an hour on holidays. Something really small, really small. So yeah, China has had the problem with people withdrawing into virtual worlds. Ben Shapiro has just said they don't have that problem, but
banning it.
Yeah,
China's banning it. China's saying you're not allowed to go online certain days of the week if there's like an entire other Earth out there that isn't doing any of this. Right? By the way, China's not doing this.
China is not doing this. Immediately, he then says they're not doing it.
Right? No. China's banning it.
Yeah,
China's banning it. China's saying you're not allowed to go online certain days of the week if you're a kid. Right? We're going to ban the kind of stuff that you can see. So in the long run, which civilization?
China also banned feminine male characters and overly sexy women. So you can't have hot femboys, and you can't have sexy big booby women either.
Civilization is going to be more durable, the one that actually understands the vulnerabilities of human nature, or the one that says we're going to use those vulnerabilities to make you feel subjectively happier.
Oh, Ben. So what China's doing, China has been worried that cultural influences have been creeping into the kids through video games, and they're losing their attachment to the old imperial China, or the image of imperial Chinese tradition. So they are looking, particularly what's happened is there's been a lot of leaking of anime culture from places like Korea and Japan. So K-pop, for example, there's a lot of boy bands in K-pop that are very feminine not presenting, that's not the right word. The men are not traditionally masculine in the way that they express and dress, and their look. They're a lot cuter. They're not the square jaw Chad. They're the cute poppy K-pop band. And then obviously Japan being an exporter of massive amounts of anime, that's had a lot of influence in China. Genshin Impact, so that's a good example. It's a Chinese game made by a Chinese company. And if you were to show someone that, particularly with the Japanese language enabled, you'd be forgiven for them, or you'd forgive them for assuming it came from Japan. And again, it's got characters in it that are, so Venti is a very femboy looking character. He's got like these braided hair. He's very slim, slender. In English, he's voiced by a female voice actor, which I suppose isn't unusual for young sort of male-like characters. But China is trying to keep control. It's a fucking authoritarian government. It's trying to maintain its control over the population through propaganda, through linking their values back to imperial Chinese tradition to prevent them from going forward and becoming more... It feels like a really weird thing for American Ben Shapiro to look at and go, China, fucking dope what they're doing when it comes to controlling the view their population has over media and the way the population perceives themselves and acts. And I'm sure Ben Shapiro is like also the sort of person that's going to go there and talk about personal freedom and autonomy and your right to decide whether or not you get vax or whether or not mandates are right. And yet he is looking and praising a country, a government, a dictatorship government like China, and praising them for controlling how children can and can't spend their time outside of school. It's insane. It is fucking ridiculous.
I think I'm amazed at the level of conditioning. Like, here's what killed me about the pandemic, honestly. Like, what killed me? The level of conditioning that it took in order to rejigger how people think was so low. It shocked the hell out of me. It really shocked me. I was talking to my business partner, Jeremy Boring, about this, and early on...
Jeremy Boring?
It really shocked me. I was talking to my business partner, Jeremy Boring, about this, and early on in the pandemic, he was like, people aren't going to stand for this. Like, when they'd shut everything down, it's like 3 months from now, people are going to be losing their minds. They're going to be out on the streets protesting to get rid of the masks, and they're going to be out at ball games again. I was like, that's not right. I think it'll take a year. We're like a year and a half in, and half the country's still like, well, what if this just kind of continues? Like,
what if we just give a shit about other people? What if we just wear masks because it prevents the spread? What if we just go, you know what, this lockdown's difficult, but it saves lives. 700,000 people in America died. I think we're at 1,400 in Australia. So turns out actually giving up, sacrificing some of my personal freedom temporarily to protect my fellow Australians was a good deal. Doesn't mean it was easy. Doesn't mean it was enjoyable, but it was moral, it was ethical, and it was the right thing to do. This motherfucker's up here talking shit about it as if it was like some horrible... just let him talk.
All right, I guess. Like, the amount of dependency that was bred by people saying, just go back to your house.
Yeah, so the anime that kids had seizures to, allegedly, I say allegedly, it did happen. It was Digital Soldier Porygon, I think was the name of the episode. It was a Pokemon episode. It happened mostly in Tokyo, I think is where it was mostly occurred. Yeah, and it was like Pokemon Season 1, I think. So the episode, I'm pretty sure it didn't get aired outside of Japan. And I don't think it made it onto the DVDs either. There were some questions about whether it was caused by the show or not. I can't remember the details specifically, but yeah, that was that was definitely a thing. Whether or not it was like mass hysteria, which apparently is a thing, or whether it was literally seizures. I don't remember what the outcome of that was. I know there was some contention in terms of some of the stuff I'd read when I did hear about it the first time I heard about it.
And people human beings are really adaptable. And this is something that Brett Weinstein and Heather Heying talk about, right? That's our superpower. We're super duper adaptable.
Yeah.
So we're super adaptable.
To our own detriment.
Sometimes to our own detriment. So if we change our social circumstances radically in a way that's unhealthy for us, and we are now interacting with technologies that were built to take advantage of our lizard brain.
Wait, I just realized that we're supposed to be talking about Facebook Metaverse, and now we are talking about how the lockdown caused people to change the way they live and behave socially. That might cause us to not fuck and not have kids, and society will be demolished by barbarians because we adapt too quickly to lockdowns and mask mandates. That's the journey we've been on right now. That is where Ben Shapiro has taken us. Godspeed.
Yeah.
Then what happens when there are people who are just not engaging in the same, they're not playing the same game that we are, right? We're essentially drugging ourselves. Robert Nozick is the libertarian philosopher. He talks at one point about what he calls the experience machine. It's the thought experiment. And the experience machine is basically VR. He's writing this in early 1960s. He says, what if there was a machine where you could plug into it, you'd feel the illusion of choice, you'd feel as though your choices had some sort of significance, and it would give you the dopamine hit that you get in regular life. Would you plug into it or would you not?
Right.
And his theory was you wouldn't plug into it because you still want to feel like your life has real-world consequences. But what if everybody you know is in that experience machine? Then you're the one who gets left out if you're not in the experience machine.
What is real world? I mean, that's what the problem is. That analogy was created before the sophistication of computer systems has reached the point now where you can look at it 20 years from now and you kind of get an understanding of where it's going to be. When you're dealing with what's possible now, I don't think you're going to be able to stop people from doing it because I think it's going to be so overwhelmingly addictive. You look at how many people are just addicted to looking at their Instagram.
Yep.
It's so simple.
I mean, Ben Shapiro's right about TikTok. I spend too much time on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's nothing. I mean, it's nothing. The dopamine hit you get off of this little phone, it's minimal, but people are completely all in on it.
Yep. And I think that I do wonder if there's going to be, and I wonder what you think about this, if there's going to be a bifurcation in the same way there's been a bifurcation about so many issues between the people at the top of sort of the elite spectrum and the rest of the population, where the people at the elite spectrum are making the metaverse, but their kids aren't actually in the metaverse.
Right. Like Steve Jobs didn't let his kid use an iPad.
Exactly. Like, I'm on the internet. My kids are 7, 5, and 1. They're not allowed. We don't have the TV on in our house. My kids don't watch TV. Right? My kids don't get internet access until they're like 18. Like, that is not.
Oh, Ben. Fuck me. How are they going to do their schoolwork, Ben? Like social media, yeah, don't make social media accounts for your kids until they're old enough, but they're not getting internet access. We don't have TV. Holy shit. They listen to the radio. Not NPR, though, obviously.
Not a thing I want.
18?
They can be out of my house and they can get internet.
Rebel. They're going to do drugs. They're going to be in the street. Your kids are going to turn tricks.
Well,
it's going to be a real problem.
Okay, it's a joke, so I'm not going to give him too much shit for it, but like he just insinuated Ben's kids are going to prostitute themselves. Fucking
a problem.
That's a pretty wild ride you took me on there, Joe. That's really upsetting.
That's what I do.
Yeah, no, that was. We went straight from my kids aren't watching Coco Melon to they're turning tricks in the streets
turning
of
tricks
Florida.
is such a great term. It sounds so cute for what it actually is.
Yeah.
You know, it's a terrible thing, but it sounds like cute. Oh, they're turning tricks. Like if you didn't understand English, you'd be like, oh, they're magicians? You know, like no.
Of a sort.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, we're going to limit, but I think that's one of the stories. If we're talking about the elite kind of versus everybody else gap,
maybe
everything that
if
gets
they're
created
that
is
concerned about their children.
But you see with everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like people promulgating technologies and value systems they don't actually live in,
right?
And then everybody who is watching is like, I will do that,
right?
And then those people themselves don't do it.
Watch the entire episode for free, only on Spotify.
No thanks. All right, we're gonna watch the other one. Gotta watch the other one. So what was this one? California's attempt to close the gap in math education. Oh, this is going to be, is math racist? Is that where we're going? All right. Oh, I wish I had more booze. Because I would take a drink every time Ben dog whistled for either gender ideology, elitism, or the woke left. Right? There's a drinking game. Because I suppose math education closed. Let's see. Let's stop.
The Joe Rogan experience.
Did you see that story in California, by the way, about how they're going to try and reteach math? Did you see this one from the New York Times?
What?
Yeah, it's solid.
Reteach math?
So they're going to figure out how to teach math differently. They said that they don't want to have. They're getting rid of some of the objective standards with regard to math.
I bet they're not. All right. I bet they're not. I bet they're not getting rid of the objective standards.
Because math is, and they want to get rid of the idea that there are naturally gifted children. They said they're not allowed to say that they're naturally gifted children anymore.
Oh, I think I heard
Isn't that the case with New York as well? Didn't they get?
Yeah,
rid of
they're trying to get rid of the
program?
magnet schools over there too.
But gifted programs. Right?
Yes, the gifted programs because there's too many Asian kids. America's white supremacist, so all the Asians are succeeding.
I love that narrative. So, no, what are they trying to do with math?
So it was this article in the New York Times, and I'm trying to remember all the details. They said you're not allowed to talk about naturally gifted kids. You're not supposed to reward right answers or punish wrong answers. So there's like a big kind of parents' revolt going on in California over this because the idea was that there was too much racial disparity in math performance in California, and so changed the standards. Which, by the way, I can't think of anything more racist than that.
No,
that is so super racist. It's like not enough black kids are scoring well on the test. That means that black kids, I guess, are too dumb to do well on these tests. Get rid of the tests. Or alternatively, there's an explanation where kids need to study more.
Well, you only find out.
Or there's an explanation where we need to change the methods of learning to make sure that they are more able to reach a broad amount of kids to do the same level of, I didn't do that sentence very well. We changed the way we teach kids to make sure that a wider range of students are able to learn and understand the concepts that are being taught, because it wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world to learn that the way we teach in schools is weighted towards particular learning styles that may be favorable to particular ways of people bringing up their kids, or particular formats of households, or particular ways of different people just interacting with the adults in their life as they grow up, because cultures have different family setups and different ways of teaching their kids. Maybe that's where it actually goes. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find the
What
article.
if someone knows things if you test them? It's the only way you find out. How else do you find out? You have to like say, show me how to do this problem. And then the kid tries and you go, oh, that's not how you do it.
So here's the issue, right? Like the presupposition there is that if you do a test, then you will find out whether or not a child is able to do a math. Now, when I went to high school, they tested me on maths. I did quite good at maths, right? So I did a maths B and maths C, which in, I guess, generic terms means that I did the most difficult maths class, which is maths C, and I did the middle of the road maths class, maths B. Maths B was, how do I explain maths B? Maths A was learning enough maths so you could figure out what your bank fees are. Maths B was learning enough maths so you could do some other basic sciences and stuff. And maths C was the maths where you'd learn about things like imaginary numbers and how to get the square root of a negative number. Because in maths A and maths B, they'd teach you that you can't get the square root of a negative number because, you know, a negative multiplied by a negative is a positive by a positive is a positive. So there's no one number you can multiply. Anyway, I was pretty good at maths. Where was I going with this? I was just bragging there. Anyway, the point being, right, I learned things in maths B and maths C. They tested me on those things to see if I had learned them. Turns out I didn't learn them. I memorized them. By memorizing them, I did well on tests. And by not learning them, I no longer have access to those skills. The only thing I remember how to do is to calculate the square root of a negative number, and that is by substituting in I squared equals -1 to say -4. So you get -4i, instead of -4, it is 4i squared. You can find the square root of 4i squared, which is 2i, where I squared equals -1, and you have the square root of a negative number. Means nothing to you. But I didn't learn anything else. I can't even remember how to do, what are those problems that are like a bracket by a bracket and you've got to explode it out? I can't even remember the name of it, but the point being that Joe's presumption that testing is how you determine whether or not someone has learned something, not exactly.
By the way, I think this is like
true.
I think the scam that is college is predicated on society trying to get around the basic truth that you just said, which is we can tell by test scores whether you know things and are good at things.
Well, I mean, obviously there's some tests that favor people.
College, okay, maybe it's different in America. In Australia, undergraduate studies, your bachelor degree, is a test to determine how well you're able to understand the academic literature of a particular subject as it exists. So when I did my bachelor's degree in communication and public relations, I had to demonstrate that I was able to look at and understand the current academic understanding of public relations, business management, and communication. I wasn't tested answers and questions. I had to demonstrate understanding. I had to demonstrate a knowledge of it. So why does Ben think that colleges don't do that?
College is predicated on society trying to get around the basic truth that you just said, which is we can tell by test scores whether you know things and are good at things.
Well, I mean, obviously there's some tests that favor.
I wish I was no, I shouldn't say that. I think I would rather be arty than like academic. I've got really bad eyesight though, so I kind of suck at it overall, but it doesn't stop me from trying. I don't know if this counts as artsy-fartsy. It is painting, kind of. But it's... So, like, I went through a phase where I would, like, paint these models. and I'm currently kind of going through a phase where I'm trying to learn how to draw on an iPad, because when I was in high school, so yeah, I did maths B and C, but I also did art, commercial art and design. What else did I do? I think English was the other one. So I had some skills back then, and I was okay at drawing, but I stopped drawing for a long time and kind of lost it. So I'm trying to get it back. But hey. But holy shit, to say that colleges don't test for understanding is ridiculous.
People that have grown up in certain
like, you literally get grades. Anyway, fucking hell.
Environments, because you have more access to certain kinds of information. But once you teach people and then you test them, there's only one way to find out whether or not they know the information. They have to be tested. Like,
So-
the idea that you're going to eliminate tests and somehow make things more equitable or more even is kind of crazy.
Actually, what you're going to do is you're going to make people more racist is what you're going to do. And the reason for that is because Thomas Sowell talks about this. He talks about different types of discrimination. And he says there's group discrimination where you base your perception of an individual.
Is it going to be the discrimination of low expectations, or the bigotry of low expectations? Is that what he's going for?
On the group data that is available. And then there's like discrimination, which is you know that a person is smart and they're of a group you don't like, and so you just ignore the fact they're smart because they're from that group. So the two examples that he gives, right, is let's say that you're walking down the street at night and it's in an inner city neighborhood and there's a black guy walking down the street and he's wearing
danger
a hoodie and he's a young guy, 17 years old.
Don't be racist.
Are you going to cross the street or not if the opposing example is an 80-year-old white woman?
Ben,
right? And he says, well, based on the group statistics, you're probably going to cross the street more often if it's the 17-year-old black kid than if it's the 80-year-old white woman. Now, let's say that 17-year-old white kid, that 17-year-old black kid, you know the kid. He's a nice kid. If you still cross the street, that's what makes you like a super giant racist. In the former case, you're just using the group data available. The problem is that using the group data available very often is wrong, right? What if the 17-year-old kid is a nice kid, right? You shouldn't be doing that either. You need specific data. Test data is specific data. So let's say now that you are an administrator.
Sorry, how is test data on maths going to stop you from being racist against black kids because you're scared of them? Like, what's the connection here? Why did I go through that entire fucking little anecdote to get to we need tests in maths in class?
At a college, and you're not allowed to use test data. All you know is that on average, black kids score lower than white kids, right? So who do you let in? How do you make that decision? Wouldn't it be better for black kids for you to have the test data because you know which black kids definitely deserve to get in as opposed to which ones don't deserve to get in? So you start using stupid generalizations.
The idea that anyone doesn't deserve to attend education, even tertiary education, holy shit. This is why I hate conservative politics.
The whole point is more specific data is better. More specific data fights discrimination. And yet we have this whole weird idea that if we get rid of specific data, if we get rid of test data, objective data, this is going to end discrimination. Precisely the reverse will occur. People will start using stupid stereotypes.
Watch the entire...
All right, Ben. Challenge fucking accepted. Let's go. Right. So that was a New York Times maths closed the gap, right? We've done this on stream before where we've had people make claims that turned out to be completely and utterly false. Wait, don't you tell me this is fucking paywalled. Mother... Okay, this better be free. Let's give him my email address. See, and that's the thing, right? Like in Ben's imaginary little anecdote is if you live in a society that continues to cross the road in front of people that are different to you, it creates more fear and more distrust. And what do they say in no, don't. I don't want to subscribe. I just want to read one art. Continue without subscribing. No, thanks. Maybe later. Oh, fuck, no. Okay. I think we get one article for free. Like, it continues to sow division in it bifurcates the community, to use his word from his last thing. So, Anyway, let's see. Do we have a video? Or is it, no, it's just a picture. All right. We found the article. Let's find out. I forget New York Times bias, but anyway, we'll read it. We'll use our critical communication skills from our bachelor's degree, for which we were tested and found to possess, to get through any potential bias. Proposed guidelines in the state would de-emphasize calculus, reject the idea that some children are naturally gifted. Okay, let's break that down. Reject the idea that some children are naturally gifted. I think that is a valuable tool for a school to look at each child individually, and with full appreciation that they may be able to do whatever they want to do. So to consider someone gifted and someone not gifted suggests that you might treat them differently, reinforcing outcomes that would then in turn reinforce your bias that child A was gifted and child B wasn't. So it seems to me logical to not treat children as gifted or not gifted, but instead to treat all children in the same way. And then let them, by investing their time and their effort, take what opportunities that are provided to them equally and turn them into whatever outcomes that they feel that they're after most. Let's remember, we've barely fucking one sentence in. I've got to assume this is high school because we're talking about calculus. So we're talking about schools where already kids are electing into specific subjects. I presume America is just like Australia, where once you start getting to high school, you get to pick particular subjects that you'll start to specialize in as you move through the higher grades. So that we're not talking about 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds. We're talking about young adults. So let's treat them equally and let them make the decisions for what they want to focus on. Okay. Critics say maths shouldn't be political. We've not said anything political yet. Wait. Reject the idea that some children are naturally gifted and build a connection to social justice. Okay, I think we need to read more to find out what they mean by that. To me, that doesn't make sense. Do we have a byline? Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Put your name... Oh, here we go. We have someone to look at afterwards if we don't like what we've read. If everything had gone according to plan, California would have approved new guidelines this month for math education in public schools. But, a draft. We like drafts and public comment. Shit, that's it. I forgot about... It was such a big week for shitty internet stuff. I forgot that one of the other things that came up was the religious discrimination bill here in Australia was being discussed. Anyway. Not getting distracted. The recommendations have set off a fierce debate over not only how to teach math, but also how to solve a problem more intractable than Fermat's last theorem, closing the racial and social economic disparities in achievement that persist at every level of math education. The California guidelines, which are not binding, could overhaul the way many school districts approach math instruction. The draft rejected the idea of naturally gifted children recommended against shifting certain students into an accelerated courses in middle school, and tried to promote the high-level math courses that could serve as alternatives to calculus, like data science or statistics. The draft also suggested that math should not be colorblind, true, and that teachers could use lessons to explore social justice. For example, by looking out for gender stereotypes in word problems or applying math concepts to topics like immigration or inequality. I mean, don't we use, particularly at higher levels of math in like grades 11 and 12, like the last two grades in high school in Australia, you start to use real world math problems. And you need to apply like whatever mathematical concept you're learning to a real world problem. Anyway, the battle over math comes at a time when education policy on issues including masks, testing, and teaching about racism has become entangled in bitter partisan debates. The Republican candidate for governor in Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, seized on those issues to help propel him to victory on... so this is the same place as Youngkin, eh? Wait, no, is Virginia different? Virginia's different. Anyway, Now Republicans are discussing how these education issues can help them in the midterm elections next year. Even in heavily Democratic California, a state with 6 million public school students and an outsized influence on textbook publishing nationwide, the draft guidelines encountered scathing criticism, with charges that the framework would inject woke politics into a subject that is supposed to be practical and precise. We still haven't got to any of the... So, one of the things I always emphasize is when we're reading news articles, we need to understand that the way a news article is structured is an inverted pyramid, right? So inverted pyramid means that you've got the most foundational concepts at the top, and they get less and less foundational as you go to the bottom. So the further we go in this news article, the less important the writer and the editor of this article felt these things were. And we have still not gotten to the actual specific guidelines in the draft that are being criticized. They might be legitimately worth criticism. So we'll see. People will readily go to battle for maths to say the same, said Joe Bowler, a professor of education at Stanford University who was working on the revision. Even parents who hated maths in school will argue to keep it the same for their kids. The battle over math pedagogy is a tale as old as multiplication tables. Oh, God. Pat yourself on the back, Joe. Was it Joe that wrote this? Whoever wrote this. An idea called New Math, pitched as a more conceptual approach to the subject, had its heyday in the 1960s, about a decade ago, amid debates over the National Common Core standards. Many parents bemoaned math exercises they said seemed to dump line-by-line computation in favor of veritable hieroglyphs. How long is this article? We signed up. We gave them our email for this. Today, the battles over the California guidelines of circling around a fundamental question: what or whom is math for? Math is for people. Testing results regularly show the math students in the United States are lagging behind those in other industrialized nations. And within the country, there is a persistent racial gap in achievement. According to data from the Civil Rights Office of the Education Department, Black students represented about 16% of high school students, but 8% of those enrolled in calculus during the 2015 to 16 school year. White and Asian students were overrepresented in higher level courses. So that's interesting, right? That point there, that it's not that necessarily just that the Black students were not performing as well. They weren't even represented in those high level courses at a equitable rate anyway. We have a state and nation that hates math and is not doing well with it, Dr. Boas said. I'm going to start saying maths. Critics of the draft said the authors would punish high achievers by limiting options for gifted programs. An open letter signed by hundreds of Californians working in science and technology described the draft as an endless river of new pedagogical fads that effectively distort and displace actual math. Williamson M. Evers, a senior fellow at the Independent Institute and former official with the Education Department during the administration of George W. Bush, was one of the authors of the letter, objected to the idea that math could be a tool for social activism. So we've got the wording of critics of, they're calling it social activism. I still don't know how the draft phrases these things. I think that's really not right, he said in an interview. Math is math. 2 + 2 = 4. There's a YouTuber. He's an Australian guy. He's a mathematician. And he does math so well, so interestingly. And it's because he tells stories with maths. It's not just 2 + 2 = 4. Thank you for my video. Hit like and subscribe. It'll be things like the two-ness of the two is established by, like, I'll have to find a link to it. It's really interesting. I think it, off the top of my head, it's a refutation of like math being a, like they're arguing for maths to be boring, and that's crazy to me. Like I said, I did enough maths in high school to know that there is some level of beauty in mathematics, in the attempt to solve some of these super complex conceptual ideas that people are finding challenging, that actually help us get to the point of like figuring out AI simulations and computing and stuff like that. So like to reduce it to 2 + 2 = 4 is the critics are apparently like people in STEM. Like it says people in the industry. Where was it? So, I mean, this one is a senior fellow at the Independent Institute and a formal official with the Education Department. Distress over the draft made it to Fox News. Red flag. In May, Dr. Bauer's name and photograph were featured on an episode of Tucker Carlson Tonight. God damn it. That's our second time he's made it into the stream tonight. An appearance she did not know about until she began receiving nasty letters from strangers. Interesting, Tucker Carlson, that you did not seek to get the opinion and the point of view of the person being reported on. Like some of the attempted reforms of decades past, the draft of the California guidelines favored a more conceptual approach to learning, more collaborating and problem solving, less memorizing formula. How the fuck do we make collaboration and problem solving political to the point where it is favorable over rote memorization? We're going to read this draft. How much longer is this? Fuck, this is a long article. Fill in their inches. All right, we're going to start skipping through and find some interesting things to pop up. So, Tucker Carlson. D-tracking keeps students together longer. Before high school. This is falling apart. What kid in middle school and fucking grade school is going to be doing fucking calculus after they get their fucking carton of milk at Little Lunch? The advanced classes are still available in high school. No kid. I challenge anyone to find me when a 12-year-old was taking college-level classes because they were in the advanced class. High school, grade 11 and 12 in Australia, you can conceivably start to do university-level classes. And this sounds like it was still the case. So it's not disadvantaging kids that were going to be in the more advanced levels of maths because they can still access those advantages in high school. Like, I'm pretty sure this is all. Anyway, San Francisco already does something similar. A high school junior in San Francisco advanced along that integrated track, even though she did not always consider herself a gifted math student. She is now taking advanced calculus. In 8th and 9th grade, I had teachers tell me, "Oh, you're actually really good at the material," she said, so it made me think maybe I'm good at math. The model wait. What? I understand those words. I don't understand why they're in the story. What are they adding to me? Anyway. A few years of data. Fuck. Those who support says that it has done good without bringing down. You'll hear people say that it's the least common denominator that discourages gifted kids from advancing, Elizabeth Hull. And it's like, nope, our data refutes that. Cherry pick data. A more nuanced approach. Here's the thing, right? Isn't there an argument for like, there's a benefit for those kids being in the same class as students that haven't adapted to the material as quickly so that they could operate in a collaborative way and they could help each other along? Because it's not just like that it's a drag because the students that aren't as quick to pick up the material are taking time away from the students that take to the material more quickly. But there's an opportunity for those students that pick it up quite quickly to help students that haven't picked it up as quickly. And in teaching that material, they become more intimately aware of it themselves. So one of the things that is a core tenet of learning how to teach people is the idea that you don't really know an idea or understand an idea completely until you can communicate it to a child. So, I could sit here and talk about, this is a hard thing. So I could talk about, so for example, when I earlier talked about, okay, when we look at an article, it's like an upside down pyramid and the most important things are at the top and they go down, down, down. That's an example of taking a concept that might be a little bit advanced when you're talking, because that's something I learned at university. That's something I learned at tertiary education level, but I understand it to the point where it's easy for me to communicate. And in learning how to do that, I learned to understand the material myself better. So kids that are excelling in, doing long division, by then learning how to teach that to their fellow classmates, you'd think that would actually help them. I mean, that's an interesting. I'm compelled by it, but it's my idea, so I'm a little bit biased. And then it can hurt struggling students. See, again, anyway. See, this is assuming that the teacher is sitting up there and you're still teaching in the same way you teach old maths, but not adapting it to the new style. Make better teachers, cool. Students with potential would quickly fall behind. Anyway, again, we're still talking about middle school and grade school. Tracking. Why is it all about calculus? Which one's calculus again? Continuous change. That didn't... What? Oh, okay. I think that's like the bracket thing I was talking about. Yep, okay. Yep. Yeah, okay, now I know what calculus is. I remember. Yeah, this is it, right here. See, this is exactly the maths I was talking about. Like, I did high-level math because I was good at math. And the way I was taught, no fucking idea now. Recommendation, aim to expand the options for high-level math so that students can take courses in, say, data science or statistics without losing their edge in college applications. Wait. The move requires buy-in from colleges in recent years. The University of California system has de-emphasized the importance of calculus credits. So the University of California has de-emphasized calculus. It sounds like the high school is responding to that by de-emphasizing it themselves and offering other options. See, the other thing some people say about teachers is those who can do, those who can't teach. But I think that's people more having a go at teachers than necessarily a truism. For now, the revision process has reached a sort of interlude. So it's in draft stages. Far from over. Wait, how do we get to COP25? Here we go. California education. Give me that sweet, shitty eyesight zoomed in size. All right. I'm not going to read all this. We're going to find... give me a... Oh, god damn it. This was done by mathematicians. Look at this. This is fucking GeoCities. Frequently asked questions, right? Let's try and get to some Cliff's Notes. What did the IQC recommend? Adding an appendix that includes a learning progressions. This is in technical language. This is not necessarily for... All right. What did they... Okay, that's whatever. Does it prohibit local education agencies from serving gifted students? No. Since the development of the 2013 mathematics framework, new research has emerged that can be used to inform local conversations about how to best serve high-achieving students. The draft discusses the most recent research that concludes that students can achieve high levels of math competency if they have access to effective mathematics teaching and learning, which also fosters growth mindset. However, just as with other student groups, high-achieving students can be underserved or marginalized. To provide a more inclusive approach, the draft mathematics framework encourages the use of open, authentic, multidimensional tasks. This includes, but is not limited to, learning mathematical ideas not only through numbers, but also through words, visuals, models, algorithms, multiple representations, tables, and graphs, from moving and touching, and from other representations. Studies show that when learning reflects the use of two or more of these means, the learning experience improves. Does it get rid of middle school? No. Does the draft remove high school calculus? No. Again, they're responding to tertiary education entrance requirements and where tertiary education is moving. Draft mathematics framework provides several diverse high school pathways, which are set forth in the pathway graphic below. Modeling with functions, data science, integrated 3, algebra 2, pre-calculus, calculus and trig, statistics, other. It's a bit suspicious. So you get integrated 2 into integrated 1, blah, 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 geometry to algebra. What does it say about tracking? Again, tracking was a big issue, right? California schools struggle with questions of how and when to offer different pathways through K-12 mathematics. These pathways... Research provides evidence that schools and districts that design pathways with access, opportunity, and equity at the center are more successful in preparing students to be... So they've got research backing up this decision, whereas Ben Shapiro just had, I feel like this is going to be the end of society. The largest Association of Mathematics Teachers in the nation, NCTM, has made clear that confronting structural inequities of tracking and ability grouping strengthens efforts to support all students in learning along a common pathway. See, whenever fucking conservatives, and I'm going to lump Joe Rogan in there with conservatives, talk about anything, you need to go to the fucking source. You can't even, like, fucking the New York Times gave all this space to people that were complaining about it and talking about their qualifications. But so far, these have got, like, they're citing the largest association of mathematics teachers in the nation are stating that there are inequities in tracking and that ability grouping strengthens efforts to support all students, which is what they're doing instead. Codes and legislations. When we've met to review, that's all a bit dry, wasn't it? See, I like in Australia often when I'm looking at this sort of stuff, there's like a there'll be like a page or two which is just a description of the intent of any changes to like policy or standards or something. Second, first, I haven't seen anything about wokeness, right? Anything about assessment in the 21st century, maybe it'd be in there. And then it's details on how to contact them, guidelines, minutes, I'm guessing, from the meetings, focus groups, executive summary. That's might have been what we're looking for. Maybe. Why won't she load? Where did my music go? Am I disconnected from the internet? Okay, maybe we've chased this dragon as far as it'll go. All right. Well, been a bit of a slow night, so maybe I should call it quits while I'm ahead. Yeah, the rewards and punishments is, it's a bit unimaginative way to encourage kids. Like it's the love of learning that's important. It's not the like, particularly when you're talking about high school kids, like it shouldn't necessarily be about incentives. It should be about motivation. I know it sounds like they're the same thing, but like particularly when you're at the point where kids are making decisions about whether or not they should be doing calculus or trigonometry or algebra, you'd think that would be based on them knowing already what they enjoy, what they are passionate about, and what they want to do with their future. Although it's a big call to make those decisions at that young age. Like at that age, I decided I was going to be a pastor and look after a church, and I mean, that didn't go well. I mean, it didn't happen, so. All right, 1.5 hours. We're probably going to call it there. Thanks for hanging out, Linda. Much appreciated. Nice chatting. I hope you had a reasonable time. Happy to keep you company at 2 a.m. in the morning. I always wish I could find more like small streamers out there to chat to and stuff, but I always seem to find the big ones and stuff. So, hopefully 2 a.m. is probably a big call most nights, but yeah, hopefully you drop by later. But I do try to also post these things as videos and stuff, so check it out. But yeah, hope you get to sleep when you do need to get to sleep, or if you're chilling out and doing other stuff, I hope that's just as fun too. So I am pretty tired, but I'm probably going to be up for a little while longer because in 15 minutes there's a Genshin Impact stream. So I'm going to watch that. And then I'm going to go to bed and sleep for like 12 hours. So thanks for hanging out. I've got to get better at streaming. I really do. I'll see you next time. And